Welcome to the Raising Confident Girls podcast, your guide to raising strong, confident daughters. I'm Melissa Jones, the founder of Girls Positivity Club and a teacher for over 20 years. In a world where girls often feel overwhelmed, anxious, and confused, this podcast is your go-to space. As caregivers, we navigate challenges together. I founded Girls Positivity Club to provide a place where you belong and get the tools to face today's hurdles. Consider this your regular check-in with a trusted friend, offering insights and practical tips for meaningful conversations. I'm here to help you feel confident on this journey of raising a generation of empowered girls. Let's dive in and raise those confident girls together. Hi everybody, welcome back to Raising Confident Girls. I'm so very happy and grateful that you're here spending time with me today and learning about things that can improve your relationship with your daughter and your life. And so that really means the world. And I hope that these episodes are helpful. So welcome if this is your first time. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm happy to be with you today to talk about staying close during long breaks or busy seasons with your daughter or the girls in your life. So this came up last night, actually. I'm always listening and talking to my friends and talking to other moms and just really trying to think about how I can help support. And one of the topics that we were talking about, we were at my son's BMX practice. So we were at the track, and I'm not normally the one who takes him because my husband enjoys doing it. And I do too. But I met with some of my friends who were there, and we're all moms, and we were talking. And one of the girl moms said one thing that's a struggle for her in the summer is her working and being so busy at work and also still staying connected with her kids. She has two girls and a boy, and they're different ages. One is a teenager. The youngest girl is 7, and then she has a boy who's 9. So she has like a 13-year-old, 9-year-old, and a 7-year-old. And so she's in all the stages. And she was like, yeah, I feel really guilty because I'm so busy that I'm not really spending a lot of time with them in the summer. And I try and connect with them as much as I can at night, but I'm also tired and I'm trying my best. And my mom watches them during the week, which is such a blessing. And the older girl goes to camps and things like that. And her son has sports. So she's like, I'm really just managing getting them to where they need to be. And she mentioned that luckily her work gave her Thursdays off. She works at a doctor's office, and she was like, I'm so happy that the doctors, gave me Thursday off because I really need that time to connect with my kids and really stay present. And I know that's really common for a lot of you because during breaks or during the school year, whatever season you're in right now, it can get really busy and you can have mismatched schedules. So there are times where, I've had moms pick their girls up from my camps. I just had my first camp last week. If you're listening to this in real time, it went really awesome. And I have another camp that's starting next week. And a lot of times, I'll have moms that just share with me different things. And one mom last week picked up her daughter, and her daughter had told me that she was a full day camper. And she had told me that her mom, she may not come on Friday because her mom was going to take the day off and they were going to go to their pool together, the local pool together, and they were going to spend the day doing fun things. And I said, oh, okay, that's okay. I'm glad to know that because we'll adjust, what you were going to do and things. And they made tie-dye t-shirts, and I wanted to make sure that she got her t-shirt and all of that. And then throughout the day, this was like on Thursday, the day before that this was going to happen, she was having so much fun that she changed her mind. And she said, well, maybe I'll just come half a day because I don't want to miss what we're doing in the morning and I'd really like to come. And I was like, okay, well, whatever you and your family decide, make sure you talk to your parents about it. That's definitely a family decision. So her mom comes to pick her up and she was like, Mom, I think I'm going to stay half day tomorrow. And she's like, what? I took the day off from work. Like we planned this whole day together. And I could tell the mom's feelings were hurt. And she was like, why are you changing the plan? And obviously she's the parent. She gets to decide. And side note, the girl did not come on Friday, but it just shows that kids get so into what they're doing and they love doing it that when we're busy, especially, and we're taking that time to connect with them, sometimes they're not available, and that hurts our feelings because we, especially this mom, she made special effort to take the day off, and I'm sure they had a lovely day together and it was beautiful and all of that because she did in fact not come to camp. But the point is, sometimes we can have those mismatched schedules or mismatched ideas about how we want to connect with our girls. And they can have that need that they want to as well, but they also can have a different thing in mind. And so it's just staying connected with that. And so, whether you're in summer right now or you're approaching summer, or whether you are in a full school year and activities are ramping up, I know sports schedules can get really crazy and you want to stay connected. So, there are certain problems that arise with this. One is the mismatched schedules, like I mentioned. Another is time constraints. So, having only a set amount of time with your daughter each day, with the girls in your life each week, however that looks for you, especially if you're in a divorce situation where you share custody and you see them only certain weeks or certain days, however that may be. You want to make the most out of those times. And then there can be a communication breakdown, like in the example when I was talking about the girl who they had planned all along that she was going to take Friday off. And then she didn't communicate that maybe she might want to go to camp earlier in the week. If she would have maybe told her mom that earlier in the week, she might have been able to adjust, or maybe not. But the point is, there was a lack of communication. And that's why I think the mom had the reaction she did when her daughter told her that. She was like surprised because they'd already had this whole plan. And then there's that feeling of overwhelm where you can feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not seeing my kids very much. And like the one mom at BMX told me, she's like, I feel guilty about it. I want to spend the time. I know it's summer, it's so nice out, but my work schedule is really busy and crazy, especially because she works in a pediatrician's office where everybody's doing their well checkups at this time of year, especially if they're getting ready to start a new sports season, they're needing physicals, and her schedule has just been really crazy in the office. So that has been something that she's like, okay, I've got to find moments to connect, but I don't have a lot of time. And then the next problem that can come up is the lack of shared activities. So when busyness happens, you can have opposite schedules. You're not really sharing, you're not able to go to every single thing. You're having to tag team it with your partner, or you're having a carpool with neighbors because you're not able to make everything. Maybe you're under a deadline at work, or you just have some big project going on. Or there's in summer, I mean, there can be almost too much space where you're like, okay, what are some things we can do together? And what are some things where we can all have our alone time too? So, what can you do? So, there are lots of things you can do, and I thought I would give you 5 tips that could help. So, the first tip is to schedule the quality time. So, as even if you're not a schedule person, have in mind that maybe, each week you're going to have a weekend outing of some kind. Maybe that's what you choose. And maybe you plan it with your daughter. And again, I talked about this in a previous episode of it gives her that ownership and that independence of helping the family plan an activity and asking her like, what would you like to do with the family? Here's what I was thinking. Let's all put our ideas together and see what we think. So that's really good. A weekly dinner. I hear from so many families, very few families are actually able to sit down and eat together very much because of a busy schedule. Now, summertime or break time from school might be a time where you are able, or a holiday or vacation time, where you are able to actually breathe and have those moments together where you can have meals together. But most families tell me that they either eat in shifts where this kid is here and then that's the time they eat in the car, it just has to be like that because of schedules. But having like one designated day, like every Sunday we're going to have a family dinner, or every Thursday night we're going to go out for Mexican, or whatever it would be, whatever that looks like in your family dynamic. Going on a walk. I talked about this again in another previous episode where there was a dad who started doing daddy walks with each of his kids. He had 5 kids, and he would just go on a walk with a different kid each day. And it wasn't very long, it was like a 15-minute walk, but it was something that ended up being a super cool bonding experience. So fill in the blank for whatever that walk would be. It could be a designated activity. So I have a mom right now who is doing Pilates with her daughter. Like that's their shared activity that they're doing together. And, that's something that is scheduled, and it's something that they know they do together. And it's not only good for their bodies, but it helps them have something to look forward to together each day that they go. So they go like 3 days a week or something. And the second tip is, the first was schedule your quality time, however that looks for you and whatever activity that would be. The second is use technology to your advantage. So I know with my teenager, if I felt a little bit disconnected or just wanted to check in, we've sent texts to each other, like checking in, or, hey, I've really been noticing that you've been working hard on this. Like I'll compliment about something or just check in about a certain thing. That's always a really positive way to do it. And I had a mom actually reach out to me on Instagram and say that she appreciated all the positive quotes that I put in stories. So if you're not following Girls Positivity Club on Instagram, please do. I try and do as much positive content as possible, but I share quotes, a lot of quotes. And she said that she sends those to her daughter. And she finds that a really cool way to use technology in a positive way. So I thought that was a really huge compliment. And then yeah, just checking in, having lunch. You can FaceTime if you're in a summer season and your kids are with your mom or with someone, your husband or your partner, whoever, and they could FaceTime at lunch. You could FaceTime your kids at lunch. That's a really great way to check in and stay connected. Now, if they're at a camp or they're at a place where they couldn't do that, obviously not an option. But if you do have them staying with a caregiver who you know personally and who would allow that, then I think that would be a really beautiful way to check in. And then the next way is to create those shared goals or projects. So this is where, I mentioned the daughter and the mom going to Pilates together. I've also heard of them doing projects that are around the house together. Like I had a mom who said that they painted a fence together, not just like a boring color, but like really colorful colors. Or they did like an outdoor garden together. They planted flowers together. It doesn't have to be outdoor, but it can be, I'm a big, big proponent of kids don't care how good you are at arts and crafts. They just want you to sit beside them and do it. And it even creates some comedy if you're not very good. Or I'm really big too on abstract art. Abstract art can look a lot of different ways. You can experiment with color, you can do lines, there's so many ways to do it. So I really push back when people are like, I'm not artistic. I think anyone can be. And art is really just a way to express yourself. It doesn't have to be professional grade. So I think whatever that shared activity is, finding that common goal, that common project to do together, which can be really great. Maybe you both have an interest in music and singing. So maybe you listen to musicals together and you sing them while you're doing something together, whatever that would be. And if you're sitting here thinking, I don't even know what our shared interests are, I don't even know what a shared goal would be with my daughter, then that's a good conversation starter. Be like, hey, I was thinking I'd really like to do something with you where we complete something. Would you want to come up with some ideas of some things we could do? And those could be like a DIY project, maybe in the house. Maybe you want to rearrange her bedroom or your bedroom or the living room, do like a decorating type of project. Maybe it's setting fitness goals together. Like, let's go on a walk every day together after dinner. And we'll talk about our day. We'll share our yays, the good things in our day. We'll walk the dog, whatever it is. Or maybe you want to do a 5K together. If you are runners and you want to do that, or if you're not into that at all, it could literally be anything. Maybe it's you create your own menu for the week, or come up with, like, you want to help me create the menu. On Sundays, let's come up with what we want to have to eat all week for dinner, and you can help me come up with that. Or let's make one dessert together a week. Anything, literally anything. So shared goals are really, really important. And, these can be things on the weekends. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. It can be something as quick as 15 minutes or less. So I think that's a huge misconception that parents think that quality time or doing a shared project has to take hours. And there are projects that do take a long time, but there's also those quick things that they appreciate, even if it's reading a book together. Let's read a chapter of a book together every day at this time. And then again, I'm a huge, huge book nerd. Like, I love books, and I think there's such power and connection through story. So yeah, it can be something as simple as that. And then the last one is to encourage that open communication. So it's those check-ins. I will always say check-ins are so powerful. And most of the time, the best places to check in are at bedtime and in the car. Because for whatever reason, those are the times when most kids are more open, most girls are more open to talking. Now, I've heard a parent say, my daughter has anxiety in the car. Obviously, that's not the place then for you to check in with your daughter. It's more like helping her manage her anxiety in positive, healthy ways as much as possible. But maybe yours is bedtime. Maybe there's a time where you start sitting, even if she's older, you go and do like a 3-minute check-in with her. You ask her yay of the day. You ask her what was something that you enjoyed doing today, and you say something like, I've noticed that you've really been into, cooking this certain thing, or I've really noticed that you've been watching a lot of dance videos. Is there a dancer that you really like that you've been following that, maybe tomorrow you could show me or tell me about them or something like that? Literally anything. You could also say, like, you could say, I've been thinking about that. I want us to spend a little bit more time together. What would you like to do with me? Like, what would be fun? Would you want to go like once a week, go on like a mom daughter or a dad daughter date where we go play mini golf or we go get ice cream, just you and I, especially if you have multiple siblings, and maybe you take turns with them and you do that. I've heard of a lot of parents doing that with their daughters and with their kids, and it's a very powerful thing, and the kids hold them to it. Like, they really love it too. um, and it's, how are you feeling about, like, checking in with, like, how are you feeling about, your friends? Like, do you feel like you're in touch with your friends? I know it's summer, or I know you guys are all busy doing different things. Are you feeling like you're getting enough time with your friends? Should we invite someone over? Checking in about those things. It can literally be anything. How are things going with fill in the blank? An activity that they're enjoying. Even if it's something that you aren't that interested in, the best conversations are when you take interest in their interests, even if they're not yours. Even if it's a video game that you know nothing about, you can say, I've noticed you've been playing Sea of Thieves lately, or I've noticed you've been playing Roblox with this certain whatever. Tell me about what you've been learning about it, or tell me about your accomplishments or what you've been doing. And they'll talk and talk and talk. And you may not care at all about that game, but they do. And the fact that you're taking interest in it without being dismissive and being like, oh, well, you do too many video games. Asking about a race in Mario Kart that they did, or whatever they're into, really helps. And it doesn't have to be a video game. It could be about a show they watch. It could be about a book. It can be about something you notice they did at camp. Literally anything to keep you in touch with what's going on in their lives. I noticed that you made masks. This is at my camp last week. I noticed you made masks, and it had something to do with bravery. Tell me about that. Like, what were you thinking when you made your mask? And it opens up this whole conversation. And if it ever fizzles out and they're like, I don't know, I don't remember, you can say, okay, well, if you think about it, let me know. Here's what I was thinking. When I saw that you use these colors, it made me think that you were probably thinking that you were really brave when you blah, blah, blah. And you just like make something up that's related to them. And then they'll be like, oh, actually, I remember now. And that happens a lot. So instead of giving up, that's another thing you can do, is just tell what your perception is of it. And knowing them, like how you think it relates to what they are interested in some way. Like, oh, I noticed you had a lot of pets out when you were pretending with your stuffed animals. Were you pretending to be an animal doctor, or were you, a person who just owned a lot of pets, or what was it? And this would depend on their age, obviously, but there are ways to do it at all ages. So it's just encouraging that open communication, getting them talking about something, even if it seems like nothing, always turns into something. It always leads to something more, and it gives you insight that you never had before with your daughter, the girls in your life. So doing these things, checking in, doing all of these different things, scheduling that quality time, using that technology to your advantage in a positive way, supporting their hobbies and interests, and even participating in them, creating those shared goals or projects, and encouraging open communication and just having those conversations. And, the one thing I'll say about all of these things is try one and see how that works. And then you can try a different one, see how that works. And it's going to take more than one time of trying these things. I think a lot of parents or kids even, they try something one time, and if it doesn't go the way they expect, then they're like, oh, that didn't work. Well, maybe it just needed a little tweaking. Maybe you just need to try again. Maybe it was the timing. Maybe it was they were tired. Maybe it was a lot of things. So don't give up, keep trying. And these are really great ways for you to connect. So what this is going to do is it's going to positively affect the trust in your relationship with them. It's going to help you both feel more connected. You're going to teach her that emotional resilience, which helps her feel supported and heard, which helps her navigate those challenges. And they're going to have better family bonding moments with you, which I think is what we're all after, is we want to help our girls create those lasting memories with us. And it doesn't have to be something fancy. These types of things also build core memories. So I hope that was helpful. If there is another way that you really like to connect with your daughter, please let me know. You can send me a message at girlspositivityclub.org. That's my website. You can contact me there, or .com is the email. You can also reach out to me on social media. I'd love to hear from you. Please share this episode on social media, or just send it to a parent. Right now, if you found this helpful, it would mean the world if you just send it to another parent of a girl or caregiver of a girl who this could help. It would really spread the message and the mission of Girls Positivity Club to help raise a generation of confident girls. And until next time, have a great rest of your week and keep raising those confident girls. Thanks for joining another empowering episode of the Raising Confident Girls podcast. Share today's insights with caregivers and friends, building beautiful relationships with strong girls. Hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. We're not just a podcast, we're a community. Follow Girls Positivity Club on social media for more empowering content on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. This podcast empowers you, supporting incredible girls. Let's create strong, beautiful relationships with the girls in our lives. I appreciate you listening today. Stay confident, stay connected. Until next time, keep raising those confident girls. You've got this.